got the best view. You have the best seat in the house in what is sure to be a spectacular race. The Nikon Indy 300. Australia's Will Power to start from pole position. We've also got Ryan Briscoe in the field. He'll start from position number 3. 60 laps or 1 hour and 50 minutes is how this race will be run. And to call it for you, Scott Pruitt, the winner here in 1997, alongside Aaron Noonan. Good calling, boys.
It's an exciting time. The drivers have been ordered to get into their cars for the Nikon Indy 300. 24 drivers. This is probably the best field that has come down under since the heyday of kart in the 90s.
Absolutely. We're talking 24 cars are getting ready to go racing today. One of the biggest fields we've ever seen down here. Going to be exciting. Let's go through the track. Turns 1 and 2. Top speed just under 300 kilometers an hour down in turn 5. These guys are going to be pounding the curves all day long. Don't do it too hard, boys. Don't tear up your race car. Brakes are going to be an issue. Top speed here is down the front straight, just past start finish. Will they be running the fastest time of the race? Second gear, pretty much everywhere else. It's going to be tough on brakes, tough on the car, and hopefully you keep your nose clean and come home with a victory.
And there are really 3 key issues. Brakes is one that you've mentioned. Fuel economy, massive one. And pit position. And that's one of the issues for this man. Will Power, the eyes of the man from Toowoomba. He will lead them away. Rolling start with the INDYCAR series, but those 3 points are critical.
That's going to be the challenge for them. They need a bit of luck. They need that sweet lady of luck to shine down on them today to have things work out as far as the pit strategy. Dario Franchitti there, first time back this season, been away at NASCAR, done just a terrific job.
He's going to start from the second row of the grid alongside Ryan Briscoe.
These guys, you can see the anticipation is there, the excitement is there. They're focused. Turn 1 right now. Get through turn 1. Don't tear anything up. Let's get this race underway.
And we'll be watching fuel mileage from the Honda V8 engines. It works out that the 22-gallon US tank, about 83 litres, so they're going to use about 1 gallon per lap, so they should be good for a fuel window of around 22 laps. We'll keep an eye on that. There's some fast cars buried in the middle of the pack who didn't really make it through to qualifying yesterday. Oriol Servia, 15th. Look for him perhaps to take an early caution.
And Oriol Servia, top 3 this morning in the warm-up. Things just didn't work out for him yesterday. They have to... I talked to Jimmy Vasser. He's calling Oriol's car today, and he said, you know what, we got to gamble. We got to do something different to make him up as many places as possible in the pits, and that's what you're going to see happening. Guys being a little conservative on fuel, trying to make something happen for him. When you're buried in the field like that, it's very difficult to get past those cars in front of you, even though you're quicker.
Dario Franchitti is one of 3 former winners in the race. He did it for Team Green, Barry Green's team in 1999. Bruno Junqueira driving for Dale Coyne. He's starting 17th. Ryan Hunter-Reay could be a real factor today. He will start 5th for Rahal Letterman Racing. And of course, another former winner, Jimmy Vasser, in the pits, the winner here in 1996. But we're getting set for the Nikon Indy 300. The Grand Marshal today to give the order to start engines is the gold medalist in triathlon from Beijing, Emma Snowsill.
Drivers, start your engines.
All right, boys, it's time to go racing. Strap in, strap on, and it's going to be a great day at the track. Beautiful weather. These drivers are ready to get it done. And there's one in particular right there, Will Power. Wow, he wins today. It's going to be party central for a week, I'd guess.
I'd reckon there's got to be a public holiday tomorrow. But he's got 60 laps or 1 hour and 50 minutes. It could be a timed race, whichever comes first. The cars will be sent away from pit lane. It's an Anzac 1-2-3. Aussie Power on pole. The Kiwi Scott Dixon from second. And the Aussie Ryan Briscoe will start from third. Such expectation. There's 10 nationalities across the 24 drivers. 8 drivers from the United States as the cars leave the lane. There are 6 Brazilians, 2 from England, 2 Australians, and 1 each from Scotland, Spain, New Zealand, Japan, Venezuela, and Canada. The cars are on the road. We are counting down to the Nikon Indy 300. And one of the issues we haven't discussed yet, but it's critical, the first chicane. more than half of the races here in the history of this event have had some form of contact, spins, or crashes. The numbers are against the drivers.
If you're up at the front, probably not a big problem. But if you're buried in the field, I'll guarantee you'll be looking to go straight through.
Let's run through the grid. Power and Dixon on the front row. Ryan Briscoe and Dario Franchitti will go from row 2. Ryan Hunter-Ray and Elio Castroneves are on row 3. And Alex Tagliani and Tony Kanaan, they're back on row 4. Justin Wilson, he does have more pace than where that grid position really implies. The Brazilians, Mira and Moraes, are on row 6. It's Vitor's first run for AJ Foyt. Graham Rahal a bit further back, and watch for Oriol Servia.
Oriol Servia is going to be making that move. I think he'll be able to get by some cars purely with speed on the racetrack. Bruno Junqueira 17th, Dan Weldon, Ed Carpenter, Jamie Camarera. And there you go, Townsend Bell, Buddy Rice, Danica Patrick. Just a terrible weekend for them. And AJ Foyt the 4th.
24 cars.
24 cars. Unbelievable.
And we talked about it earlier, the pit position, the pit boxes. Will Power is a bit further in. Scott Dixon's pit box is at the very end of pit lane. So once he stops complete, he can charge straight back out onto the track. In Will Power's case, he's a bit further down. He's 10 pit boxes back. So he's got that real drama of having to go around other crews and negotiate other cars.
To explain how critical this is, the Ganassi cars actually split their 2 cars. Dixon is right at pit out. Franchitti is number 4. By combining them two, like most teams will put both their cars together, but they felt to give Scott Dixon an edge, really not knowing how Dario was going to run, because it was all about winning the race.
You've been here 7 times right in this moment. What are you thinking? How do you approach this first chicane?
Well, the way you got to do it is you just got to be ready to go straight. You want to make it through the turn. You don't want to have any contact going into one, but at the same time, some of the biggest places you're going to make up, the passes are going to be made on that first lap. So you got to be aggressive, but the last thing you want to do is knock a corner off your race car.
Will Power, pole sitter last 2 years. He's the only man to ever have 3 poles. This will be a rolling start, so there will be 2 by 2 out of turn 12. And if the starter is happy with what he sees, he'll give the green flag. If not, we'll get a yellow and they'll do it again.
It's a little bit different than the V8s. There's always been rolling starts here in the IndyCar series. In fact, most of the racing in the States is rolling starts. NASCAR, the Rolex Sports Car Series that I do, everything for the most part is rolling except the Formula Atlantic Series.
We'll be going green next time by the IndyCar Series officials on the main channel to all of the crews.
See a lot of the drivers trying to build some heat in those tires. Will Power, Scott Dixon, Briscoe, Dario, brand new setters. You saw these guys rolled out. Those tires are shiny. They're working them back and forth, building heat, building pressure, getting that shiny part off the tire. And
if you tuned in to the Champ Car race here last year, you'll notice that there's a few differences. There are no option tires. Justin Wilson in pit lane for Newman Haas-Lanigan.
That's not a good sign. He's had a very, very good car. Had one good this morning. There he goes.
Now, he was supposed to start from 9th.
That's not the way you want to start this race.
Now, the drivers have no option tyres like the Champ Car guys did last year. There's no power to pass. However, there are 4 different fuel settings for the Honda engine. They can run full rich, of course. That takes away the fuel consumption but gives you some speed. We can go to full lean, which makes you go a little bit further on fuel, but you don't make as much pace. It's a real balancing act.
It's going to be a balancing act like you've never seen before. The thing that's going to happen today, it's all going to be about strategy and luck. If you play that strategy just right, you're going to come out the winner. And there's so many fantastic drivers out there and teams that can win this race. But I got to tell you, I see nothing better than a win for Will Power. I'm going with Will today.
Well, one guy who's going to try to give Will some competition is Justin Wilson. We saw that he had a problem right there on the start. What happened was his car was stuck in 3rd gear. They're not quite sure if they have the issue resolved, but Justin said yesterday about being disappointed where he qualified. He said, it is by no means over. Anything can happen here at Surfers Paradise.
Brian Pettigo is exactly right. She joined us in pit lane for the Nikon Indy 300. The cars are at the turn 7 chicane, so they're halfway around on this final lap before they form up for the start of this race.
Anticipation builds right now. Everybody, their heart just a beating, getting ready to go.
So many questions. So many questions. I think we have to look for guys like Graham Rahal and Oriel Servia who are in the middle of the pack. Look for them to perhaps make an early pit stop and go out of sequence. But it's now. It's the moment that we've been waiting for. It's the moment that Will Power has been waiting for since yesterday. He will be the man to lead them back towards the start-finish line. And they start to form up now, 2 by 2 for the rolling start. It's a non-points race, but it's all about winning.
Coming to the green, baby. Here we go.
Look at the green and gold. Power slowing them down. It's a great formation, a wonderful sight on the streets of Surfers Paradise. Power makes the jump for the run towards, and they get the green flag in the Nikon Indy 300. The first chicane, Dixon has got Castro Neves and Briscoe in the mix, but it's Will Power comfortably leading. Briscoe's through to second, and Dixon cuts the chicane.
We talked about that a little earlier. You don't want to have any contact going into one. The second chicane, just contact.
Contact in the background, and the second chicane, there's a spinner. Mario Moraes keeps it going. It looked like contact, perhaps with Vitor Mira. But it's clean air for Will Power. Here's Alex Tagliani muscling through on Dario Franchitti. And now Castro Neves goes for the ride as well.
Dario didn't get off the turn that well, left the door open down low.
Power clearing away.
Tagliani is just doing a terrific job right now.
Out of turn 6, the Barnicard S's the run back towards the turn 7 chicane. And Power clearing away, clear air, that's what you need.
Clear air, a bit of running room, nobody breathing down your back.
Race officials are saying that Dixon needs to redress this situation. They need car 6 Ryan Briscoe to move in front, so Scott will have to yield second place because he cut that chicane.
Now you look at the big picture, this is not going to be a big deal. Yeah, he's got to give up one position, but that's a lot better than tearing up a race car.
A lot better than getting a penalty as well. Look at that gap. Will Power for Team Australia, 1 lap down in the Nikon Indy 300. He is flying.
He is checking out. Dixon lets Briscoe go. So now he served his penalty.
And the officials are happy. The order is correct, is the call over the race channel.
And what a run for Hunter Ray right now. Sitting 4th. And Tagliani, you got to remember, Tagliani started 13th.
You can see in the bottom left of your screen, we'll count the laps and also the race time, counting down from 1 hour 50. The replay of the first turn, it's side by side.
Side by side, couldn't quite make it without having a little bit of contact there. Scott decided to go straight, Tagliani decided to go straight.
Hideki Muto goes through the Japanese driver.
Look on board here. Oh, wheel to wheel. Just nowhere to go.
And this was what happened at the second chicane. Moraes into the side of Mira, the 2 Brazilians.
That was just a case of getting in too hot, getting into the side of there. Just clipped the tires. Everybody's trying to figure out where to go.
Mira makes a stop in the AJ Foyt number 14. But this man, Power leading. The gap last time around was 3 seconds. And no one else is in shot.
Not even close. On board with Dixon, currently running 3rd. Briscoe right there in front of him. Now, a couple laps in, these guys are going to start leading it out because they want to be in position to take advantage of strategy. Something was to happen, the yellow to come out, or even to stretch it on fuel. They just want to kind of sit in and let the race unfold.
Already, lap 3, they're on the radios. Fuel save, fuel save. It's the key straight away to this race. It's Power from Briscoe. Dixon is 3rd. Ryan Hunter-Reay just behind. There he is, the blue and green, ethanol-backed Rahal Letterman machine. Castro Neves is next. Tagliani is 6th. Frank Kitty's back to 7th. EJ Viso, a great start. He's 8th. Kanan is 9th. And Graham Rahal has moved to the top 10. Neves. The run to turn 5, 260 k's an hour, 6-speed paddle shift.
Up over the curves. Let's just ride with him here for a minute. What a great shot.
There's Tagliani driving for Conquest Racing, just his 3rd start for this team. A veteran of the Gold Coast, has been on the podium twice here before. Frank Kitty just in behind. Things have settled.
Things are settling in now. Franchitti is probably just going to run where he's at, lean it out, kind of run where he's at. He probably won't see any challenges up on Tagliani. He knows that he is clear at the other end of the pits, and as they come in together, he will absolutely beat him out. Dario Franchitti, now remember, he's been away at NASCAR, settling back into this racing, so he's going to be finding his way a little bit as well.
Out front, Power leads. The margin's 4 seconds. That time, it was line ball with Ryan Briscoe. It's Australia 1 and 2. That's never happened on the streets of the Gold Coast. The best finish by an Australian was David Bernard, 7th in 2004. The run up to turn 4 along the beach. And now we go into fuel save mode.
Fuel save mode. Really waiting to see how this race is going to unfold to take advantage of any strategy they can.
Canard, Rahal, there's Oriol Servia. He's up to 11th. Junqueira's made a move. There he is in 12th. Marco Andretti under fire from Dan Weldon. There's Wilson. So he's really started to carve through them.
Looks like Wilson got through his problem being stuck in 3rd gear. He had a car very fast this morning. See him to make some moves straight up to the front.
He won the last street race in the INDYCAR series at Detroit, which was the penultimate round of the championship, but he's got work to do today.
We've already started to talk about strategy, fuel saving. That's what will win the race for these guys in most part. And Oriol Servia's camp has decided that their strategy will be to do exactly the opposite of whatever it is the leaders do. If they stay out on a yellow, Oriol's coming in, and vice versa. We'll see how that plays out.
New fastest lap of the race, Ryan Briscoe, 1:37.3. Power, a 1:37.5, but the margin is 3.8 seconds.
Power's just out there cruising. Mark Johnson's on the radio with him saying, you know what? Just let it happen. Let it come back to us.
It's a great start for Will Power. Only a handful of laps into the Nikon Indy 300, but it's Australia 1-2 at the moment. Streets of Surfers Paradise, and on board car 8, it's Will Power. He leads the way from Ryan Briscoe for Team Penske. It's lap 5 of the Nikon Indy 300, and already there's been big moves in the pack. Justin Wilson started from pit lane. He now runs in 15th. Oriol Servia is up to 11th. But this pattern is forming similar to previous years. Power starts at the front, fast in the early section of the race. This man, Briscoe, is chasing. His lap times are comparative.
Now again, Will Power out front. I'll guarantee his team is just telling him, you know what, we got a long way to go. Take care of the car, take care of the transmission, take care of the brakes. There's only one lap that counts, and that's a checkered flag.
Right there, the second chicane. That's where Ryan made contact with the wall in the warm-up this morning. Turn 3, across the curb. He can see Power. Power's on his way alongside the beach as Briscoe turns in for 4.
Take a ride with him for a little bit. .70 kilometers an hour right there.
And the full rev range is 10,300 RPM from the Honda V8. It's normally aspirated. No turbo. Here's Dixon. He runs third.
Again, some of these guys just settling in, letting the race unfold, let it come back to them. Don't force it. That's the way you make mistakes in racing. You try and force the race. You got to let it come to you. The second gear all the way through here.
This man knows how to win. He's the champ this year. The second win in the INDYCAR series for the Kiwi. He won 6 races, including the big one, the Indy 500 in May.
Will Power has a sizable lead on the rest of the field. I asked his strategist, Mark Johnson, is this in any way strategy? Create a large gap on the field so it's difficult for them to catch you. And he said, no, Will's car really is just that much faster. They haven't told him to conserve fuel. They haven't even mentioned fuel numbers. All they've said to Will since the race begun is, good job, buddy. Keep it up.
This is Wilson going on by Dan Weldon. That's for 14th.
Wilson cutting his way back up through. Now we got to take a look at Briscoe and Dixon. Both these guys have run laps faster than the leader, Will Power. Everybody's kind of settling in. They didn't get the chance this morning with the cut-up session with all the yellows. In warm-up, they haven't got a chance to really run a long way on a set of tires. Full fuel load to empty. So we're going to see whose car's working, who's good on tires for the long run.
This car's working. The McDonald's Newman Haas-Lanigan machine, the O2 of Justin Wilson. He's closing right in on Marco Andretti, who's having his first start on the streets of Surfers Paradise. And Wilson will pounce down at turn 5. He had a look.
He's going by. He's got a lot stronger car than Marco. It's just a matter of time. He's got enough speed where he can make that move.
And Brienne raises an interesting point. Only once in the history of this race have we gone green the whole way. 1993, when Nigel Mansell won on debut. Here comes Wilson.
There he goes. Heavy braking, second gear. Great move. His car looks like it's really hooked up.
Briscoe's just edging the gap. It's 3.1 seconds to power now.
Actually, Scott Dixon now has the fastest lap of the race, a 36.5. Briscoe is second at a 36.7. And Power, third quickest lap of the race at a 36.8. On board with Briscoe again. Second gear, hard on the gas, straight up through the gears. $270 kilometers an hour. What a great shot.
He finished 11th there in 2006 in the Champ car. He's won twice this year in INDYCAR. The oval at Milwaukee, full course yellow is being called.
Yellow, turn 1, full course yellow.
Now, this is interesting. It's Mario Moraes in drama again on the exit of the chicane.
Guys, be ready for a rear wing. We're going to do a rear wing when you get in. Is the front wing okay? No, it broke the car.
The car's done. They're just going to have to pull that car out of the way. Now, the caution car is going to roll. They're going to bunch up the field, and all the teams right now are going, okay, what are we going to do? Stay out or come in?
Here's what happened. And it looks like the left rear broke on the exit of the chicane.
Wonder if that was from contact earlier or for contact just on that run through. Just can't quite see it.
Whatever the case, we're one down. Dale Coyne Racing are down to one car with Bruno Junqueira. So the young Brazilian rookie is out of his first run in the Nikon Indy 300. But none of the leaders have decided to pit. They're all forming up behind the safety car. Will Power still leads. That margin closes up. Ryan Briscoe just behind in second. Perfect for the Nikon Indy 300. We're 8 laps down and the Aussies are 1-2. Power and Briscoe. Dixon is third. Ryan Hunter-Ray in fourth spot. Adio Castro-Neves, then Alex Tagliani. The 99 winner, Dario Franchitti. EJ Viso's made a great start, the young Venezuelan. And Graham Rahal has worked his way now into the top 10.
Serbia's having a great run. Now, we listened in on a few teams earlier. They're talking, we're going to do exactly the opposite of the leaders. So it's going to be interesting for me to see who's going to make pit stops right now.
That's the full field, the way they run with 8 laps down. Now, this is why we have a safety car. Mario Moraes, the young Brazilian, making contact for the second time in this race. The first time was with Vitor Mira. The second time is with the chicane, and the chicane won.
What a great slow-mo shot there. These TV guys just do a terrific job bringing this race to life. And wow, I mean, driver error right there. That's that fine line between pleasure and pain. That was painful.
Yeah, exactly. Power's gap, of course, is closed up behind the safety car. However, he's now flexed the muscles. They know what they're up against. And they've all switched to the caution setting for saving fuel. There's 4 different settings in the engine that the driver can adjust from the steering wheel for green flag running. There's a 5th one for when they're under yellow to save the maximum amount of fuel.
Will Power's team is laid out, preparing for him to make his first pit stop of the race. Hitting his marks inside his pit box is critical during the race, and he has struggled a little bit with that during the season. So as Will pulls in, you will see Fiona Howitson, a member of the PR team for Team Australia. She will spin a red and white umbrella to let Will know this is the spot. Pull in here. This is where to make the pit stop. See her right there spinning that umbrella as Will comes in.
Newman Haas-Lanigan pitting both Justin Wilson and Graham Rahal, just topping fuel there. Of course, these cars run on ethanol. There's the release. Oriol Serbia pits in car 5 for Team Australia. Bit of an argument there with Dan Welder, but Serbia will emerge in front. So these guys all now go out of sequence. Castroneves is pitted there too by the looks of things.
This is the gamble. This is what we're going to see. How it unfolds. I mean, this is the aspect of this race that keeps it so exciting is, do you pit now? Do you pit later? Are the cards going to fold on your or against you? That's
exactly what's going on. The games have begun. We thought Will Power was coming in to make his first pit stop. At the very last second, they pulled his crew back over the wall, sent Orioles over the wall, and swapped drivers. So you never really know what's going to happen down here on pit lane.
I love this racing. I mean, there's nothing like it. This strategy part of it is so key to winning this race. Your crew guys, team effort.
This is the replay again. Mariah's too much curb at the second part of the chicane.
Not even close. Heavy contact on that left rear corner. Oh, what a great camera shot. And the camera's still there.
The green flag will fly next time around. We're going to get a restart in the Nikon Indy 300. It's lap 10 at the moment.
Now, coming from yellow to green, the strategy always is just haul the first lap. Try and stretch out a little bit. Keep your nose clean. Don't let anybody make that move. Get 1 or 2 laps further into the race and settle back down.
Pace car, pull over and wait at turn 9.
Already, Dreyer and Reinbold have a car out. That's Townsend Bell, the American. He's in a little
discussion going on there.
Yeah, and the way they put wets on that car, so it looks like it's game over for them. The day is not done for the rest of them, though. Will Power will lead us away on the restart. Ryan Briscoe is second. Scott Dixon next, then Ryan Hunter-Ray.
Pace car's off. 8 has the field. 8 has the field.
Pace car leaves down at turn 9. So now the control is with Will Power.
He's on it. He's on it already. He's making his move. You can see he stretched out already on the gas. Briscoe, Dixon, Hunter-Ray, Alex Tagliani.
Back to green.
Green flag, green flag.
And Power stretching the margin. It's clear here for Team Australia and KV Racing that they want to win this one from the front. They're going to do it on car speed. The restart, getting the tyre temperature back. The pressure's back up in the Firestones. And Briscoe has them stacked up behind him.
Power just stretches right out. He was on the gas. Here we on board with Ryan.
Oh, Hunter-Ray. Pressuring Scott Dixon.
Pressure, baby. Taking a look. Nope, can't quite.
And they deviate there on the exit of 3 to miss a big bump before the braking zone.
Tagliani's all over Hunter Ray at the same moment.
Fuel saving? What fuel saving?
Not for a few laps.
Power's gone. Briscoe's just got away too from Dixon. Looking back from the target, Chip Ganassi racing Dallara.
Up over the curves, 6, 7, working away to turn 8. 230 kilometers an hour right there. Hard on the brakes, second gear. And Dixie looks like he's actually catching up to Briscoe.
The shot across the top. This is where it's all really second gear. Get the car to change quickly. The short right-hander at turn 11, then turn 12, which opens up for the long run down the Gold Coast Highway.
Fastest part of the track right here, just under 300 kilometers an hour. Then hard on the brakes to turn 1. Briscoe, Dixon, Hunter Ray.
How about the restart? The gap's 2.3 seconds already for Power.
Tagliani, wow, he was right there.
Just listening into Team Penske, Castro Neves has a problem. Here he is. Danica Patrick with a damaged wing.
You can take a look. That right rear is going flat. You can see, there it is. See that tire?
And Danica's damaged
contact.
wing.
Their weekend has just gone from bad to worse.
That's Tim Cindric talking to Castro Neves.
Going to make a full wing change. Top 4 set. The tires filled up with fuel for Helio. And he's off.
And he was one of the early stoppers under that first yellow.
I don't know if he had contact somewhere or if a tire had just gone flat.
The day has ended early for Townsend Bell in the EMU Australia car. Townsend, we heard you may have gotten contact by Mario Moraes. Can you walk us through what happened there?
Yeah, we're just coming off the fast chicane on the backside, and he kind of just dive bombed, and I saw smoke coming and left him, room because I thought he was going to crash anyways, and he still collected me. So that just launched me into the wall. It bent the right rear tow arm. It's a shame, it's going to be a long race. We knew that it was going to be a lot of trouble. 3 corners later, he crashed himself out anyway. So it's just a shame. It's our, home race for our sponsor, EMU. We're going to root Buddy on here and see if we can get a good finish out of this thing. But I certainly want to go to the end.
Thanks, Townsend.
Thank you.
Let me jump in there. We saw that slow-mo shot. We saw exactly what happened to Castro Neves. Boarded up the inside of Danica. Couldn't get it done. Caught the rear tire. Cut it down.
And he's way back in the pack now. He's 21st. Here's the leaders, Power, Briscoe, Dixon. It's settled down again.
Again, run hard for 2 or 3 laps, coming off the green, and then settle back in. Start saving fuel. Dario Franchitti.
Just behind him there, that black and fluoro green car, that's EJ Viso, the Venezuelan for the HVM team. They won this race 2 years ago with Nelson Felipe on one of those early fuel stop strategy races. Could they do it again today?
Now in the mix of all this, Hunter Ray and Tagliani both have gotten by Franchitti. I'm not sure if he's having problems. Maybe he's settling back in. We talked about Dario being out for a year doing NASCAR. Maybe it's just taking him a little time to settle in.
Here's TK, Tony Kanaan for Andretti Green. He is position 8. Behind him is Bruno Junqueira. This is Viso. Finished 4th on the streets of St. Petersburg very early in the year. First time in the INDYCAR series, a former driver in GP2. The feeder formula for Formula 1. From Power to Briscoe is under 2 seconds. It's down to 1.89. So Ryan's just chipping away.
Just chipping away. Plus, he has the advantage of being all the way at the end of pit lane. That may not sound like a big thing, but when you're talking fractions of a second, that can easily mean that pass in pit lane.
Lap 14, the clock ticking on the 1 hour, 50-minute race. No change in the front of the queue. the power hasn't quite been able to stretch the legs as he did at the start of this race. There's Briscoe.
I think he's really settling in. I think that they're talking to him because they know what they have to do or haven't been able to do for the last couple of years. They started from the pole. You got to have a great car towards the end of this race, and if you don't, it's all out the window anyway. So be smart, make your way towards the end of this race, let it unfold. Let's take a ride around right here. Seeing 270, 280 kilometers an hour right here. Hard on the brakes. And here's his team. Tell him good pace.
And the message to Will Power from Mark Johnson is, give me a little more lap time. We just need a little bit more because Briscoe's edging closer. It's 1.6 seconds.
Hard on the brakes, second gear. Now you got to realize they go from 250 right down to about 60. Amazing. That's where we're talking so difficult on the brakes. You can actually see him starting to get just inch so much closer to Will. But how great for all the Australians, 1 and 2 at the moment.
It's only lap 15. Back in the order, this is Ed Carpenter for Vision Racing. He runs position 12 at the moment. Not a noted road course racer. That team has Brian Herter, the former Indian Champ Car driver, helping both Ed and AJ Foyt the fourth with their road racing schedule. And it's the team that's co-owned by Tony George, the founder of the INDYCAR series, and also Patrick Dempsey, who's probably better known to our viewers as McDreamy on Grey's Anatomy.
And it's Ray Hall making a move right there. Now some of these guys have kind of make a pit. Oriel Servia trying to make that move up the inside as well. Now these guys have made pit stops and they're cutting their way back to the field. They're trying to make up time as fast as they can, taking advantage of that early pit stop. A little bit of different strategies we talked about earlier. Wilson, Servia, trying to make something happen here on pit strategy.
He didn't really say too much. Obviously, he got in underneath her, and it's a difficult place to pass. And, you know, he's definitely quicker, but it's a place that, you know, you need a little bit of patience. But, you know, he said, hey, I got a flat tire. I got in under her. Her wing cut the tire. And, you know, we'll just see what happens here. Fortunately, we're still on the lead lap, and that's racing.
Obviously, he's back out on the race track, so it's okay. The car's okay.
Yeah, the car's fine. Obviously, we lost a lot of track position, but that's what happens when you put him in the back like that. So maybe it's my fault.
Thanks, Tim.
Yeah, that's taking a gamble, and a gamble not playing out. They were the one of the guys who picked.
Castro Neves is 21st. He's not in the running at the moment, but so much can happen in the Nikon Indy 300. Will Power still leading the way. Ryan Briscoe, 1.4 seconds behind. Is unraveling on the streets of the Gold Coast. It's still Will Power, but Ryan Briscoe is chipping away. Both drivers have just run their fastest laps of the race as this fuel load lightens off.
That's exactly what's happening right now. These guys are settling in, a bit of fuel burning off. Cars continue to go faster. 136.2 for Briscoe, a 136.3 for Will Power. And Scott Dixon right there in third, 136.3.5. So these guys very, very close. But again, some of them is kind of settled in. Powers.
Power's in the wall. The left front's damaged. It's game over.
Oh, nuts.
Can you believe it?
He just clipped that inside wall.
Oh, you can hear it.
Get it around here. Get it around here as quick as you can. Tell me what kind of damage you got.
His day's done. Bent the suspension.
In years gone by, it's been other problems. It's been contact with other drivers, collisions in the pits. Now he can't steer the car. The left front's damaged. The wing's folded underneath.
And you can see the suspension folded up right there. Castro Neves jumps in to take another quick pit. Just.
That is so deflating.
Bad day. Bad day. These guys had such high hopes for the race today.
He can't turn the car into a left-hander, so he's out. Game over. Let's see it again. Leading the way, Will Power for Team Australia down at turn 5.
And you see him right there. Just clipped the inside wall there. Bent suspension straight to the outside. Take another close look. Just clips it right there.
Got it with the side pod.
Boom. Just clipped it with his left front wheel. You can see the damage on the front wheel. Actually broke the front wheel. Tire went flat, straight in the fence.
So one Aussie
disastrous day.
Crashes out of the lead, but the lead now goes to the remaining Aussie. Will Power's team pack up. They still have Oriol Servia in the race, but now it's with Briscoe. Team Penske lead. They have not won here since 1992 when Emerson Fittipaldi led a 1-2 with the great Rick Mears. So Briscoe leads Dixon. Hunter Ray is next. Tagliani is 4th. Frank Kitty, Viso, Kanan, Junqueira, Marco Andretti now in 9th. Hideki Muto, the Japanese Rookie of the Year in IndyCar this year. He's 10th.
Tagliani, one of those guys, a lot of experience, and that's going to help him as the race unfolds. Doing a terrific job today, starting 7th, moving his way up to 4th, and that's one of those little teams that could. These aren't as big as the Ganassis, the Penske's, and so on. These guys are a little bit on a shoestring budget and just doing a fantastic job this afternoon. Briscoe.
Yeah, the margin's 1.2 seconds to Dixon.
2 tenths faster than Dixon right now. 2 tenths faster than Dixon.
The voice there is Clive Howell on the radio, the Englishman to Ryan Briscoe.
Ever so familiar, the scene. Penske and Ganassi. All year long.
The dominant forces in IndyCar racing this year. Ganassi won 8 of the 17 races. Penske won 4.
Onto the back straight. Briscoe, Dixon, Hunter Ray, Tagliani, Franchitti, your top 5. Just take a ride.
Will Power strategist. Mark, obviously the most disappointing way you could have ended the day. Can you describe the emotions in the camp right now?
Just, you know, Brianne, it's been a great week here. The Team Australia guys have done a fantastic job. We've virtually controlled the weekend, and I think by way of everything was looking, we were controlling the race, and it's just an unfortunate situation that he just tapped the wall. There was no problems. He just he tapped the wall, and that was the end of that. So it's very, obviously very frustrating, but like I say, the Team Australia guys have done a great job. I feel bad for the entire crew. They've worked so hard for this race, but that's part of motor racing. That's why we come.
Disappointing finish, but obviously you still put on a great show. Thanks, Mark.
You see it right there, all that emotion. And then all emotion right here. Ryan Briscoe, another Australian, really setting the pace for this race and actually stretching out on Dixon a bit.
And who would have thought a few years ago that Briscoe would be driving for Penske, leading
not holding you up.
an IndyCar.
Is holding you up, yeah or not?
There's the call to Briscoe. If he gets stuck behind Danica Patrick, who's 21st and about to go down a lap, they want him in.
Fuel windows are open.
Hideki Muto pitting for Andretti Green and Oriol Servia too.
And these guys don't want to get held up at all. As we heard, if Danica holds you up at all, pit, pit, pit. Straight through the chicane there. Oh, just out of the pit. Sorry about that.
That is permitted.
Right, is Danica holding you up, yeah?
asking Ryan plenty of times, is Danica holding you up yet? And there's no response coming back, so they might have a radio drama.
I'm not sure what the decision on Oriole was. He made one pit stop, now he just made another pit stop. Not really sure exactly what's going on. Here we go. Briscoe to the pits. Working his way down pit lane.
Pitch is clear. Come on down.
Hunter Ray's pitting as well. Now, there's an Aussie in the pit crew here. Jamie Coates from Devonport is on the inside front.
Wait.
4 new Firestone tires, full load of fuel. And there they go.
A quick squirt of water to dissipate things. It's a 7-second refill. Hunter Ray in the background resumes as well. But Dixon now leads.
Now Dixon's really going to have to try and stretch it.
Now Hunter
Bit of a
Ray,
gap.
he's behind Marco.
And these guys are coming out on cold tires, so it's going to take them a good half, 3/4 a lap before that car really starts settling in and the tires warming up. Big run today so far for Ryan Hunter-Reay. On board with Dixon, he's got to make time right now.
And now he's about to go into the same scenario as Ryan Briscoe. Danica Patrick just in front.
Going to take that move. Looks a little bit to the inside. Might try and do it here. He can't afford to get held up.
Yeah, this is costing Scott time. They're in their window to come on in. Lap 21. Just these last few corners, that's time lost.
And when you're talking about within just a couple seconds, doesn't go in. Oh, he is on his way in. Scott Dixon.
He's in the last pit stall, right down the very end of the lane. A quick tear off from the visor.
He will get out in front of Briscoe unless something happens here on this pit stop.
Canaan pits as well as Tagliani. Bruno Junqueira is in there as well.
4 Firestones, full of fuel, and he's off.
Yellow being called. Look at the safety car. It goes out right in front of Dixon. And he's stuck right behind it. And there's Briscoe. There's chaos behind.
Luck of the draw right there. We talked about how things can happen.
Now, Hunter Ray swerving and making the spot past one of the Conquest cars. Yellows were waving. Alex Tagliani, that's why. Ed Carpenter, AJ Foyt the fourth, both of the Vision cars. And that's where it's tight. That's over at turn 8 by the looks. Rahal on the inside.
Rahal couldn't quite get it done, clipped him.
Car park.
Jam up.
Weldon in the background.
Just see it right here, just clipped his left rear, spun him around. Everybody jams it up.
I've heard of car parking in Surfers Paradise. It's hard, but those boys are desperate for a spot. Now they're just trying to get them out of the way, but it's full course yellow on the streets of Surfers Paradise. It's starting to get really, really interesting. Come back and join us soon. Just when you thought you knew what was happening at the Nikon Indy 300, the drama continues. It's full course yellow at turn 8. And now Danica Patrick has got involved in this and stalled the engine.
Yeah, she's awfully excited, but, you know, they're not going to get to her first. She's not having a good weekend, not having a good day, not running very strong. She's been pretty animated there, though. I got to say that for her.
But it's not going to help her because they're trying to clear the cars that caused the yellow. There was contact between Ed Carpenter and Graham Rahal, and she is going off.
That's not a way to treat the safety workers. They're trying to get you out of the way, get things cleared.
She's the only car left now.
Okay, if you were one of those safety workers and you were getting yelled at, how fast would you move?
Not very.
What a day so far. I mean, this is already turned into a chaotic and crazy race.
Now, if you've just joined us, Will Power was leading until this.
Right there, you see, left front, clipped the inside, broke the wheel, straight in on the other side.
Bam! The crushing blow for Team Australia. He dominated. He was on pole. He pulled away from Ryan Briscoe. He was
another look right there.
Gone.
Just terrible end of the day.
So it all leaves us with a really interesting race. After the bout of pit stops in the safety car, Dario Franchitti is now the leader in his first IndyCar race this season. Ryan Briscoe is second. Dixon is third from Alex Tagliani, Ryan Hunter-Reay and Tony Kanard. So it's really changed up the order. Elio Castroneves recovering from some contact earlier. A punctured tyre. He's 17th and very much out of sequence.
And don't forget, Dario has not pitted yet. Briscoe has, Dixon has, Tagliani, Hunter-Reay, Kanaan, Andretti. So this is not exactly what Franchitti wants right now. They're going to have to really think, what are you going to do? You're going to stretch it all the way, which is about his only option right now. Stretch it as far as he can go. He can't afford to pit right now, because if he does, he'll be at the end of the queue.
Now the pits are open. They go closed when we go towards safety car. The IndyCar officials are now saying the pits are open for those to make a stop. Dixon was in the lane and exiting just as the safety car pulled out right in front of him.
A crazy turn of events right there.
So we're actually on lap 23.
Let's see who decides to make pit stops.
No doubt Franchitti is straight in. He was the leader, but this has really pushed him. This will shuffle him way back in the order, and it restores Briscoe to the lead. Dixon to second. Here's Dario.
This is not what Dario wanted to see. This is going to move him way back.
Clear. Clear.
And he's off.
So really now the boys from Target Ganassi have to switch it around. They don't have track position with Dario. They might have to run a shorter sequence here and try to get him track position back later.
This is how chaotic it can be. We talked about at the top of the show. All these turn of events are what makes or breaks your race.
Patrick has pitted and rejoined. She was very animated on the radio coming in. She sounds like a lady who is over her weekend. She wants to get on that plane and go home. So it's Ryan Briscoe leading the way. We're under yellow flag conditions on the streets of Surfers Paradise. It's an interesting day on the Gold Coast. There's not too many people on the beach on the streets of Surfers Paradise. The man who's leading, though, it's Ryan Briscoe. We're under safety car conditions. Lap 24 of the Nikon Indy 300. Dixon runs second from Alex Tagliani. And it's really now turned into a race that's been thrown upside down with fuel strategy and pit stops under the yellow flag. It's pretty much situation normal for this time of year for this race.
Pretty much situation normal. And I mean, Ryan Briscoe's just doing a terrific job. He's got a fast car. He's got the fastest lap of the race so far. Things are playing out very well for him. And as far as the Aussies go, I think just doing a terrific job. We talked about the relationship he has with Penske earlier. He's doing a terrific job, as well as the fact I see him having a long career with Roger and team.
So it's Briscoe. We're getting green this time by at the control line.
And he's on it, coming to the green.
Flag, green flag, green flag.
The second restart in the Nikon Indy 300. Ryan Briscoe for Penske. He leads. Scott Dixon is second. And Dario Franchitti, of course, who was captured with that safety car. He couldn't pit because the pits were closed. He had to wait for the field to reform up. There he is in the red number 10 machine. He's 13th in the order. He's behind Castroneves, who's already pitted twice.
That's the tough part about the pits closing up here, is the fact that you can go from first to way deep in the field if you're not calling it rightly. Oral Servia taking a bit of a look there.
He's the man flying the flag now for Team Australia.
Currently running 9th.
And what a great run for Alex Tagliani, the French-Canadian for Conquest Racing. He was one of the casualties of the merger, really. He was with Champ Car since 2000, was out of a drive for the year, racing Canadian NASCARs of all things. Got the call-up from Conquest Racing late in the season, and look at him now, third on the Gold Coast.
That's a story this weekend. Tagliani and Hunter Ray just doing a terrific job. People never expected this team to run up the front like they're doing right now, but so far just having a terrific run. Right behind him, Hunter Ray, and then Tony Kanaan.
Here's Hunter Ray for Rahal Letterman. Tony Kanaan locked in behind in the Andretti Green 7-Eleven car. This is the fight for 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Lot 4, use the button if you need it.
Now the button they're talking about is going to full wrench.
Okay, go ahead.
Going from a lean position to full wrench, trying to make that move. But you got to be there. You got to be close to making it happen. Just to hitting it's not going to make it happen for you.
The word's just gone to Ryan Briscoe. He can run full rich here. He can run absolutely flat chatting car 6.
Tony Kanaan, currently 5th. And EJ Viso just hanging out back there in a 6th position.
Ryan Hunter-Reay putting on an impressive effort here at Surfers Paradise. Not his first time here. He got his first career win here, obviously. And not just Ryan Hunter-Reay knowing this course. Ryan Hunter-Reay knows how to give information to his team, and that has been part of their success this year. He gives very detailed notes. He's what we call a thinking driver. More than anyone else in the field, I would say, he gives exact corrections to his crew and helps them know what that car needs out on the racetrack.
It's like doing your homework, really, when you're a race driver. Did you do that?
All the guys at the front do that. Let me tell you, they are acutely aware of everything going on with that race car. A few of the guys who don't really know what's going on, obviously, but the guys at the front, all of them are very, very acute at what they want from their cars.
Having a look here in this red and black car, it's Bruno Junqueira, a regular on the Gold Coast, the Brazilian, a winner here in 2004 for Newman Haas. 3 times a runner-up in the Champ Car Series.
He knows his way around this track as well.
Justin Wilson is complaining. He's just behind them in the red McDonald's car. He's complaining about tyre pressures on this set of tyres. He's 9th at the moment.
He had a very quick car earlier. Looks like he's just not quite happy with it. And if those tires don't come up to pressure, or on the other side, if they go beyond that target, even little things like that change the handling significantly.
The exit of turn 3. And the car's just moved to the left there to avoid the bump as they get up in the rev range and need to brake as well for turn 4.
Serbia's had a very fast car this morning, but again, very difficult to pass here. Wilson,
the runner-up here last year to Sebastian Bourdais, and he took Bourdais' drive. The Frenchman now in Formula One with Toro Rosso. Finished 11th in the championship this year, Justin Wilson. Here's Castro Neves, he's 10th.
Up over the curve, you see these guys just pounding these cars.
And he has to, because with those early stops, he's out of the fuel window. And by our calculations, he has to stop twice more because he didn't make it far enough. The others can get through with 1.
Dario Franchitti, we saw him on that latest round of pit stops go from 1st to 13th. He's made up 1 position on Buddy Rice, but still a long way to go. That's not what you want. On board.
Dario Franchitti is up to 11th.
Up over the curb in his target, the Nasty car.
Guys, I've caught up with a disappointed Will Power. Will, can you tell us what happened out there on the racetrack? What ended your day?
Yeah, just caught the inside of the wall there. Just very bad mistake by me. And, you know, we had such a quick car. I pulled a massive gap and went into to close the gap back down, saving a lot of fuel to go a couple laps longer than those guys. So we weren't pushing hard or anything like that. Just a bad mistake.
We've been talking all weekend about this place having a fine line between aggression and concrete. Is that what happened today?
Yeah, it's just part of that wall sticks out a little bit, and it just caught the inside wheel, and that was it. I was done.
Sorry for your disappointing day. Thanks, Will.
Thanks.
That says it all. But he admitted the error. It was his error, no one else's.
Yeah, that's, we talk about pleasure and pain. That's a painful end to his day.
But it means that this man, Ryan Briscoe, is now the leader. A couple of years ago, he was doing somersaults, driving for Chip Ganassi in a horrible accident. His career was here, there, and everywhere. He was driving anything and everything. He got in with Roger Penske last year and drove the Porsche prototype in the American Le Mans Series. And when Sam Hornish Jr., the former champion of INDYCAR, moved to NASCAR, they had the man to take the seat.
I enjoy spending time with Ryan. We drove together at the Rolex 24 a number of years ago. Car ran very, very well. And what a great place for him to be. I mean, he's doing a terrific job. A couple wins already this season. This would be probably the highlight. A win in his own backyard.
Here's Hunter Ray, fourth at the moment. Kanaan is behind. He sits in fifth.
Tagliani, Hunter Ray, Tony Kanaan.
You can hear the cars popping and banging on the down towards the chicane. 5 and 6, and now up to turn 7.
You got to run these cars hard, but again, at the same time, you got to be careful. You can easily get a little bit too much heat in the brakes. And also, with all these laps, you got to be a bit careful with the transmission. All these shifts up and down. Second to six, six to second, second to six. I mean, up and down and up and down and up and down.
It's lap 29. And I just heard a communication at turn 6.
Dario Franchitti.
Yeah, it was car 10. It was Dario. He was 11th. The pits are closed and the full course yellow is coming out. Here's the replay.
Caught the tires.
And they gassed it.
Doesn't look like he's had contact with the wall. No. I think if they get him started, he can be underway.
Yeah, they may have to rock you back and forth a little bit.
Now, right now, he's hoping they can get him going before he goes a lap down. It's going to be close.
And again, the yellow flag comes out. The Scotsman, the champ in 07. The car is fine. It's just stalled and he can't restart it. There's no onboard starting system. He needs assistance. So again, the safety car comes out and Ryan Briscoe leads us around at a snail's pace.
Now these guys are just getting going into turn 3, the rest of the field. He's exit of turn 5, so we're going to see if the safety crew can get to him.
Ryan Briscoe leading the way. Can Dario Franchitti get himself back in the race? It's a cracker on the Gold Coast. The extreme slow-mo action of the INDYCARS on the Gold Coast. It's all about the curbs. It's all about staying away from the tyre bundles and the concrete. Some of the best vision you'll see, and some of the best drivers in the world.
Beautiful shots there.
This isn't bad either. The Gold Coast, this is the order under pace car conditions. Ryan Briscoe leads from Scott Dixon. Alex Tagliani is third. Ryan Hunter-Ray is fourth from Tony Kanaan. EJ Viso is sneaking up on this race. And Bruno Junqueira, massive move for him. He started 17th. He now runs 7th.
Serbia, Wilson, Castroneves making his way back after cutting down that tire.
And the critical factor here is for Dario Franchitti, the field has gone by him since that spin. He is now down 1 lap.
Yeah, and that's going to be, you can't overcome that. That's going to be, he will finish this race, but certainly not in a fighting position for the win or even probably the top 10.
And this race effectively becomes testing because the first 2 rounds of the 2009 INDYCAR Series will be on street courses at St. Petersburg and also at Long Beach. Dario Franchitti in pit lane.
Yeah, I confirmed with his camp that they don't think there's any damage. Of course, they're going to give the car a look over and as they send him back out onto the racetrack. Also, right next to him is Ryan Briscoe on pit lane, and Clive Howell, who's calling the race in place of Roger Penske, said Ryan will stay out if the pits are again back open.
Now that was really interesting there. A whole pile of cars wanted to leave the pits at the same time. Vitor Miro's there, Jamie Kamara, Frank Kitty, AJ Foyt the fourth, Danica Patrick. They got through it, okay.
Everybody wants a slice of that racetrack. Nobody's willing to give an inch. Frank Kitty working his way back by. That's the officials coming on, because they have, right at the end of pit lane, they can tell you exactly which car passes with the timing. And the officials will put them back in line to where they should be.
The word from the officials, we're going green. Next time around.
Carpenter. It's hard to tell where they are right now on the track.
I love listening to that stuff. Feels like I'm on the inside.
What a great view.
Lights out on the pace car. Lights out.
The lights are out. It's going to be a restart next time through. This is lap 31
green this time.
Of a scheduled 60.
Just at halfway.
We just talked to Clive Howell again at Team Penske for the number 6 of Ryan Briscoe, and he said that if all goes as planned, if things stay the way they are currently, Ryan will only make one more stop before the end of this race.
Yeah, that sounds just right. Worked his way through turn 8.
6 has the field.
He's letting the safety car get away. Now he's on it.
So Briscoe, the race leader, becomes virtually the safety car. He controls the pace on the restart.
In some racing, they don't want you to get on it until you get on that last bit before the green. But here in IndyCars, as soon as the pace car goes, it's up to the leader, and he's off.
We restart.
Green flag, green flag.
One more time in the Nikon Indy 300. Ryan Briscoe leading the way. The third restart. Scott Dixon, the champ, right behind. Alex Tagliani, Ryan Hunter-Reay, another of those drivers without ink on a contract for 2009. And so much has been said in the last few months that this is a non-points race. It doesn't matter. Try telling that to Ryan Briscoe.
On board with Dixon, these guys are going to fight to the checker. Briscoe, Dixon, great teams, great cars. They're just setting the pace.
Lap 32, the clock ticking to 50 minutes to go. Whatever comes first, the end of 1 hour and 50 minutes or 60 laps, that will determine how this race runs. Castroneves in the background there.
Taking a move, trying to make that move on Wilson.
That's for 9th.
A lot of these guys making that move. Right off the yellow, coming to the green.
And Hunter-Reay.
Hunter-Reay right there.
He's tucked in behind Tagliani. This is a no passing zone.
Now he might be able to make the move. Going up into turn 8, he's going to stick his nose in there, maybe take a look. No, he's not quite close enough to make that happen. There he's just taking a peek. Both these guys just having a terrific run so far today.
Reports of contact between Justin Wilson and car 18, Bruno Junqueira. And both teams are ready for their drivers. That's at the tail of the top 10. This is up the front. 3rd and 4th. Tagliani and Hunter-Reay. Canaan. We haven't seen too much of Tony this weekend. He's really snuck up on this race. Here's Viso. He's 6th. Serbia creeping up on this race from 15th on the grid.
Serbia working his way to the front. We talked about he did things differently that first set it round the pit stops. Now he's going to settle in and probably do what the leaders do. But this is the race right here. Tagliani, Hunter-Reay getting after it.
Here's a replay. This is the Wilson Junqueira contact at turn 4. Now this is Castroneves getting the run on Justin. And look at the wing, it's hanging off.
That was more than light contact. That was fairly heavy. Broke half the wing plate for sure.
And damage to the suspension on the right front.
Fuel position 4. Fuel position 4. Use the button.
That's the call to Ryan Hunter-Reay.
And that's what happens in this race right now. You really want to run hard for first couple laps, see if you can make that move. And if you can't, settle in and start saving some fuel. You want to do just one more stop and take advantage of whatever comes. Little mistake there, lock the inside front for Hunter-Reay. Just slip back a couple more lengths. But Tony slowly stalking from behind.
We talk about this race being such a fast-paced race from a physical point of view. How does it compare to a full day on an oval or a full day on one of the classic road courses in North America?
This is a tough track. It uses up the car, uses up the driver, and you can't, for a split second, lose concentration, because if you do, as we've seen for some of these guys, you end up in the fence.
And as the day rolls along, the rubber offline, the off-casts from the tyres, it gets easier and easier to get into because there's more of it.
You just can't make a mistake. You got to be on all the time. This track is so unforgiving that way, but at the same moment, rewarding for those guys who just don't make mistakes. Briscoe doing a terrific job. Dixon doing a terrific job. Tagliani, Hunter Ray, these guys are just on.
Briscoe leads. The margin's 9/10. Dixon, Tagliani, Hunter Ray, Canard, Viso, Serbia. There's Castroneves. That's Hideki Muto. Buddy Rice is next. Marco Andretti just outside the top 10. Graham Rahal. Dan Weldon's next. Frank Kitty's a lap behind. Vitor Mira in 14th. Jamie Kamara and Danica Patrick, she's 21st. And that is on board with Castroneves. And that was Canard slowing. I thought it was a green car, and that's the call on the radio, so a problem for Tony Canard. There he is. Left front is hanging in the air because he's hit the right rear.
Again, we were just talking about that. You just can't. It'll jump out and bite you. As you can see, something broke on the rear suspension there. It could be from contact, or it could be just from pounding these curbs. But whatever it is, his day is going to be done. Briscoe up at the front. Stretching out that lead just over 1 second. Dixon, Tagliani, Hunter Ray.
Don't worry about Tagliani.
I wonder what he means by that.
Yeah, it is on the Gold Coast. Lap 35 of 60.
You got to run your own race here. Again, we talked about Tagliani is at pit in, the worst place to be as far as pit lane. EJ Viso, Orel Serbia, having a bit of a go. Serbia slowly working his way to the front. And then Helio Castroneves, after that cut down tire earlier, working his way back.
Here's Canard. He's made it back to pit lane, but Andretti Green Racing
has not been a stellar weekend for Andretti Green Racing at their first visit to Surfers Paradise. Tony Kanaan climbing out of his race car right now. He radioed into his team, said, "I broke my suspension, but I have no idea how I did it." Not only is the driver, but the team completely mystified to what just happened to that race car.
And this is what we talked about right at the start of the show, right at the start of the Nikon Indy 300. The curbs, the suspension, they just can't keep taking it all day.
All weekend long, we've been saying these guys are just pounding these curbs. And any little thing, you hit them wrong, you don't even have to hit the cement barrier and get into trouble. This is a great fight. Serbia, EJ Viso. Serbia looks like he's got a bit quicker car, but he's got to be patient. He's got to try and make that move.
And Viso,
he's thinking about it.
Viso hasn't been the easiest man to pass this year. He's quick, but the drivers are wary of the young Venezuelan. The Spaniard Serbia is right behind, 9th in the championship, a veteran of Champ Car racing. 126 starts across kart and Champ Car. His first year in INDYCAR.
His favorite place to pass. He wants to get a good run up through 6 and 7, which is right here, and then you want to try and out-deep these guys into turn 8. Get that nose up underneath them.
He didn't just use the curve. Oh, look in front. The move's on, turn 8.
Oh, he's trying. He's on it.
And that lets Elio get that little bit closer.
Serbia definitely with a quicker car.
A warning over the radio to Viso. Keep it straight, no defensive. They're very, very harsh on defensive driving in the IndyCar series, and Castroneves knows about that. It happened to him in Detroit, where he blocked Justin Wilson, and the officials ordered him to move aside, and it gave Wilson the win.
You can't block. and which is exactly what E.J. Viso had done just then. Serbia was thinking about that move up the inside, and Viso just chopped him off. Here he goes again. He's going to take a move, take a look down the front straight.
This is the run to turn 3. Now Serbia has a look. He locks it up. He's got to get the car controlled for the run. But it's Briscoe leading, 2 seconds clear of Dixon. Tagliani and Hunter Ray. Then this fight. Viso started 10th. Serbia started 15th.
Again, what's going to happen? Serbia is going to take that move and try and make it work into turn 8 like he just did before. See, he tried to make it up the outside. Viso blocked him so he couldn't get on the inside. So we'll see.
It is on the Gold Coast. There's no doubt about it. Viso, Serbia, Castro Neves, the 2-time Indy 500 winner, is just trying to keep in touch.
Just a bit ago, you heard a piece of in-car radio with someone saying, don't worry about Tagliani. Well, that was Mike Hull, the strategist for Scott Dixon. He was reminding his driver, stop using rearview mirrors and run your own race.
It's all about looking forward, and that's what Castro Neves is doing. He's 7th in the race.
This is such a great race going on. Viso, Serbia, Castro Neves.
But the thing with Elio is he last pitted lap 16. We've just completed 37, so he's very much getting towards the moment where he needs to pit, and he's really in a very, very small window there of making it home without pitting again.
And this is where Serbia's got to be patient, and he's got to blend that aggression and patience at the same moment. He wants to make that move, but he cannot afford to have contact. Down the back straight, 260 kilometers an hour. Then hard on the brakes. Over the curbs.
Up the front, Briscoe is just edging away from Scott Dixon. The margin's out to 2.47 seconds. What a view. Across the beach, turn 7. The chicane and the run towards turn 8. And back into the tighter section of the circuit.
Briscoe slowly but continually stretching that gap. Couple tenths here, couple tenths there.
So at the moment, it's an interesting mix. Ryan Briscoe is leading the way. No Australian has ever won the Nikon Indy 300. Can it be Team Penske's day? A long way to go on the streets of Surfers Paradise. Like to be an Aussie and leading on home soil. Ryan Briscoe is the leader in the Nikon Indy 300. The margin is comfortable. It's 2.6 seconds. Back to Scott Dixon. It's lap 39. And now Briscoe controls the race.
And has been in control of the race. He's doing a terrific job. Slowly, couple times.
And there's the call. They want him in this time around. Now, he pitted last time on lap 20. Dixon went 1 lap further.
Pounding those cars. Up over the curbs. On board with Briscoe. Working his way through turn 8.
And clearly they've made the call. But they think now that they're within the window where they can make it home no matter what. So they want to run full rich all the way home with maximum horsepower.
Here we go. That's turn time. On his way in.
So the margin back to Dixon is 2.6 seconds as Briscoe makes perhaps his most important stop of the season. He leads on home soil. He's in the third last pit box and a clear pit lane in and out.
Now it's up to Dixon to
wait.
Dixon's in as well.
Now, race to the pit stop.
Problem with the right rear. Wait. Go.
You can hear there, problem with the right rear, but Briscoe's away. Dixon scrabbling for grip. This is the race. They'll cut this chicane on re-entry.
The best in the business right there. Penske, Ganassi, just flawless pit stops.
And behind them, Oriol Servia also took the chance to make his pit stop. He's good to go to the end.
That's what we call in the business, follow the leader.
And now the call. Now the call is going to Tagliani to push as hard as he can because he's the race leader and he's asking on the radio, do I pit, do I pit? They're saying no, stay out there and go for it.
And don't forget, Tagliani's all the way at pit in. These guys are pit out. That is a huge disadvantage for these guys.
Tagliani's at the third pit stall as the cars come in. Hunter Ray is 9 from the end, down the other end of the lane. So re-merging back in could be an issue.
Hunter Ray and Tagliani just having a great battle.
This effectively is for third place. They're leading at the moment, 1-2. But this could be a fight for that final step on the podium. Alex Tagliani,
bit of speed. Laps. You're qualifying the car. Push, push, push.
There you go. That's the call from the engineering group at Conquest Racing. They want him to drive it like he did yesterday, as fast as it would go. Brandon Fry has given him the word on the radio, and he knows that he has to go because Hunter Ray, the American, is lined up doing the same thing.
Driving like he stole it. This is when you got to make it happen, because if he's going to have any chance to put that car in victory lane, this is it right now. This is his moment. This is when he's got to drive that car like he's qualifying.
The replay at the chicane. Hunter Ray sliding it across the curb. That's millimeter stuff.
These guys going for it right now.
And behind them, EJ Viso, of course, with Servia pitting, he has clear road as well.
This is some of the most critical time of the race for these guys right now. The easiest passes you'll make in a whole race are those in the pits. And if these guys can make up a bit of time, it's going to be close.
The issue is here, they're running on light fuel. The other cars that have pitted are running on a full tank. It's heavier, it's slower. This is a chance for these guys to maybe just squeeze back a couple of tenths of seconds.
Pit this lap, Alex. Pit, pit, pit. I need you in.
Here we go.
So this is the stop for Alex Tagliani.
Hey, pit this lap. Pit this lap.
And Ryan's following him in. It's a battle now. And it's right up beneath him on the run. Now is there damage to the wing on the Rahal Letterman machine?
Sorry about the late notice.
4 new Firestones, full load of fuel.
It looks okay for car 17. And Ryan's looking in the mirror, waiting for Tag to come down the lane. He has to hold for fuel. Now he's released. He's out in front.
That's exactly what we talked about right there.
Wow. It is on. And they come out. That's Frank Kitty. He's down a lap. Graham Rahal just in behind. He's 6th.
So Briscoe and Dixon have already gone by. They weren't able to get in front of those guys.
EJ Viso is now the race leader. He stayed out. Expect him in very shortly for his last pit stop. And we set ourselves up for the run to the checkered flag. The replay, Tagliani slowing down for the pit lane speed limit.
Kiss.
And Hunter Ray, you can't get done by the speed gun if you're behind another car.
Franchitti making a move up the inside.
Dario 17th. He's not in this race.
Except he can help his teammate.
Absolutely. It's all about putting the pressure right on here on Hunter Ray. And this now becomes a test for Dario.
Dario been out doing NASCAR for the whole last season. First race back, only one test before coming to Surfers.
In the mix too, behind these guys we saw Graham Rahal and the Newman Haas Lanigan car, but he does have to pit one more time. He last pitted on lap 30. There's Viso, he's taken his stop. Now how close can he get to Hunter Ray and Tagliani with that pit stop?
It's gonna be right there.
Briscoe back to the lead.
Here they go.
He's come out in front of Tag. Great work from HVM.
It's going to be really close. Remember, he's on cold tires. Tag's on hot.
Now, Visso's been warned once.
It was a lap down.
Not to be defensive. And he can see the orange Conquest car coming.
Tag has got to make his move right now.
Look at this, right underneath. He's trying to get the run off 3. He knows how desperate that he needs to get.
There he goes.
Visso's wide.
Trying to take a bit of a look up the inside.
And now he's tucking in for the slipstream all the way to turn 5. Visso's been warned, don't defend. That's defending, but now he holds the line to the wide.
That's going to be a fine line.
Though. Tag will get a run. This is ripper stuff on the Gold Coast. Side by side towards turn 7. This is brave stuff. Someone has to give. It's Tagliani. Now Visso through the chicane.
Visso shortcut the chicane. Visso shortcut the chicane.
He's straight on the radio.
He's letting him go.
Smart stuff from Visso. But how fast was Tag on the radio?
That is great stuff right there. He's got to make those moves, got to make them right now. The heat was on. Visso couldn't quite step up. Now, Graham Rahal, take a look at the inside of Visso as well.
And Serbia's coming for them too. He's just behind in the Team Australia car. Briscoe leads. The margin is 1.2 seconds to Scott Dixon. Hunter Ray is 3rd. Alex Tagliani is 4th. Visso is next. Graham Rahal is 6th, but still needs to pit. Then it's Oriol Serbia in 7th. Castro Neves is 8th. Vitor Mira is 9th. And Hideki Muto, the Japanese driver, is now 10th.
Now, while this is happening, Briscoe and Dixon have checked out and are having a great race themselves. Just about a second splits those 2 leaders, but here you go. 3 guys going for it. Visso, Rahal, Serbia.
Going back to that contact between Alex Tagliani and Ryan Hunter-Reay, apparently the officials have not said anything to Ryan Hunter-Reay's camp about that contact being unwarranted, but there is a bit of speculation whether or not that might have been some form of payback. Ryan Hunter-Reay said that he believed that Tagliani passed him under yellow, so that he never should have been in front of him in the first place. So makes you kind of wonder.
Wouldn't be surface without some form of drama.
Like it's going to have a little bit of controversy. You know, these guys, the whole IndyCar group, all the officials are on it. And if he should have been in front, they would have put him in front. So it's one of those things. On board with Dixon, you see right up there, the Australian, Ryan Briscoe, just setting the pace. 1.5 seconds up. It looks like he is clearly in control.
He's extended the margin 3/10 that time, Ryan Briscoe. And it's a race to the checkered flag.
So how big a party is that going to be if an Australian wins this race?
Settle down, Pruitt. A long way to go. You know that. You won this race in '97. It is not over. This race throws in so many curveballs.
It throws in so many curveballs, but I can tell you from winning it before, where you're in control this late in the race, things are actually quite good. Now, a lot of things can happen. I'm not trying to jinx it. I'm just saying this is a great position to be in. But there you go. Our champion, Indy 500 winner, Scott Dixon. He may have just a trick or 2 up his sleeve.
Here's the margin back to Hunter Ray, who's being pressured by Frank Kitty. Dario is a lap down in 17th. Here's Tag, Alex Tagliani. He's 4th, Visso 5th, Serbia 6th. And Castro Neves is behind them in 7th, hanging on. And of course, he's had all sorts of drama here. A flat tyre, a couple of pit stops, and he's still 7th. Now, this battle resumes. Serbia and Visso.
So I'm surprised that Ryan Hunter-Reay has stretched out a big gap on Tagliani. They were having such a great race. Maybe just having a little more difficulty getting up to speed.
Yeah, it's stretched to 5.5 seconds. Dixon has brought the margin back on Ryan Briscoe. It's 1.1 seconds. This is going to go backwards and forwards between the Aussie and the Kiwi. And Tagliani is saying the car's going off. And he's asking already how many laps to go. The bad news is there's still a long way to go.
Oriol being coached by Jimmy Vassar to make the pass on EJ Viso. Good news for Oriole is that race control just radioed down to EJ Viso and said, keep it in a straight line.
We were talking about that. He's getting a bit wide on some of the straights, a little too aggressive.
Ryan Briscoe is hanging on. It's lap 46 in the Nikon Indy 300. Dixon is second. The American Ryan Hunter-Reay, here he is. He runs in third. We're going through to the checkered flag. It's going to be a great one. Back at the Gold Coast, the Nikon Indy 300. It's lap 46, and it's still Ryan Briscoe hanging on. It's now a fight between he and the champ, Scott Dixon. They're trading lap times. They're going backwards and forwards, a couple of tenths of seconds every lap.
Here we go on board. Ryan Briscoe down to turn 3. Works his way up to 250, 260 kilometers an hour. Hard on the brakes. Down to second gear. Less than 15 laps to go. And this is when it really starts heating up. And this is what we call money time, baby.
Exactly. 15 to go. Don't forget, race 3 of the V8 Supercars is still coming up. Massive day at the Nikon Indy 300. But this is the way it sits. It's Briscoe from Dixon. Hunter-Reay, he sits third. He started 5th for Bobby Rahal's team. That's Dario Franchitti behind in the second target car. But Dario's down a lap. He's not a factor, but he may be a factor here just to keep Ryan honest.
Ryan just, unfortunately, just kind of cruising right now. Tagliani's not putting any heat on him, nor can he pick up any time at Dixon. Right now, the story is Briscoe and Dixon. They keep a second. It's 1.2. It's 0.9. It's 1.3. I mean, it's just right there every lap.
And Tagliani, for whatever reason, in this last stint of the race, just hasn't got the pace. He's drifted back from Hunter-Reay. He was leapfrogged by the American in the last pit stop. 6.6 seconds, the gap between them. More of an issue for Alex now is EJ Viso. He's only 1.8 seconds behind.
You heard Alex complaining about his car. Something just a bit of a miss there.
Alex, just work with me on fuel, 86.
That's the call from Brandon Fry, former Team Australia engineer. Here's Viso. And that's Jamie Camara, the second Conquest car. The engine stalled. The Brazilian was 16th. And he needs help. It looks like it's down in the runoff area at turn 3. Lock up at the left front.
Lock up, couldn't make the turn, just decided to go straight. Tried to do the flick turn, stalled it.
Got the flick turn bit right, but the keep the engine running bit right wasn't too good.
Tagliani, Viso, Servia, Castroneves.
And it's been pretty much a straightforward race in terms of the types of strategies. Viso locks it up on the chicane, and he cuts it, and look at him, he's in the mirror to see where Servia is. Oriole's got the run, side by side to turn 7.
The same thing we saw earlier.
Viso goes in so deep here. He lives to fight another day, but the pressure is on.
It's heating up right here. He's going to take a look at the inside.
Oh, this is great.
Servia trying to make that move.
Viso got a little bit sideways off 8. This is 9 and 10.
He's going to take another look. Just trying to make it up the inside. Can't quite get it. And powering onto the front straight.
The officials are calling for Ernesto Viso to hand that spot to Servia for cutting the chicane. And the best way to do it without losing too much time is to step aside just about here, the run to the first chicane.
Let him go by, but he didn't look like he's doing it. Not very easily, anyway.
Now he moves across. He doesn't want Elio to get through, though.
EJ barely hanging on. Castroneves now going to be putting the heat on.
It's a local yellow here at turn 3. No passing because of Kamara's car down in the runoff road. But it's good to go from here.
Working their way onto the back straight, just off turn 4, up through the gears.
Make him block, he's doing doing it to everybody else.
Yep, there you go.
Tim Cindric. Yeah. Coaching Castroneves. It's lap 49. Briscoe leads for Team Penske. 1.83 seconds. He's just edging clear of Scott Dixon, but we're focusing here. The fight for 5th, 6th and 7th. The clock ticking, just under 22 minutes of racing time. The first time that the INDYCAR series has headed down under. It's been a massive year for open-wheeler racing.
Just outside of 10 to go. Briscoe, Dixon, Ryan Hunter-Reay, Tagliani, Viso. That's your top 5. Oriol Servia, Helio Castroneves, Victor Mira. That's your top 8. We're getting down to it, boys. Getting down to it.
And it's getting tight between laps and time. We're on lap 50, 10 to go, and 21.5 minutes to get it in. So it's going to be very close. We'll keep an eye on that. But it will be 60 laps or 1 hour 50, whichever comes first. Briscoe's pulled clear. The margin's 2 seconds even.
Briscoe's got this race pretty well in hand right now, setting the pace, stretching down on Dixon. And then Hunter-Reay is a good 8 seconds past that, so.
If you've just joined us and you're wondering about Will Power, he's out of the race. He crashed here at turn 5, the debris flag there. That's why the tyre bundle's just been slightly moved. It's not on the racing surface though.
This is the race right now. Viso, Castroneves. See Viso watching his mirrors there pretty hard. He's got in trouble for it a couple times already.
Later in the day, the shadows really start to fall across this section of the circuit where there's a lot of tall apartment buildings. But the race actually finishes earlier than it did when you won, for instance, in 97.
It was going dark when we won in 97. It wasn't shady, it was pure dark. Down the front straight.
And here's Briscoe. He's stretching. He's going for it. 2.33 seconds the margin to Dixon. There he is in the background.
Everything to win, nothing to lose. A bit of lap traffic up there. That could come into play in these next 10 laps. He is one motivated Aussie right now. Scott Dixon, P2, 2.3 seconds back. Now in Scott Dixon's position, he really hasn't been able to pull up and challenge. He's going to settle in, run hard, but he knows that he just can't get it done. So he's hoping perhaps something else will happen to our leader.
Ryan Briscoe was just told to move into fuel slot 2, which likely would help him to save fuel to make it to the end of the race. So I went down and asked Mike Hull, how about Scott Dixon? What's he allowed to do with his fuel? And he said, in a couple of laps, I'm going to let him go full rich. That would spell trouble for Briscoe.
Yeah, it would. It's such a balancing act. So clearly at the moment, they're just waiting to get to that window where they know they've got the fuel. They know the fuel mileage for the setting of full rich. And once they hit that magic number, it's go time.
This guy's having a great race right now.
Again.
Briscoe, Dixon, Hunter-Reay, Tagliani, and Servia.
Change ball. We're taking care of it.
Let's take a ride right here. .60 an hour, right down to 60.
The margin's the same, 2.3 seconds, 18 minutes of racing time, lap 52. The order is Briscoe, Dixon, Hunter-Reay, comfortable in 3rd spot. He's cleared away from Alex Tagliani. Servia is 5th, Viso 6th, Castroneves is 7th, Muto is 8th, Mira was 9th. There he is, the Brazilian, pits from 9th. Graham Rahal is next for Newman Haas Lanigan. But we have got an epic It's an Anzac race. The Aussie versus the Kiwi for the two powerhouses of American motorsport.
And as we heard, within a couple laps, full rich, full power is what that means for Dixon. Briscoe, they're actually telling him to pull back a little bit, so.
And talking to the Honda people this weekend, the difference between full rich and full lean, we're talking around 20 odd horsepower. So it's not a massive, massive difference, but who knows? Ryan Briscoe is leading the way. No Aussies ever won here on Surfers Paradise. Will go green all the way through to the finish to the checkered flag. On the Gold Coast, we're going to go right through to the checkered flag, and it could be a special day. Ryan Briscoe is on lap 53. The Australian leads the way, but Scott Dixon has taken 0.2 of a second away from him on the last time around.
Dixie's coming, and Briscoe's working his way into traffic here. You can see it just up ahead. If these guys don't give away, these lap cars don't give way right away, this is going to go down to a street fight between the two mega teams.
In front is the American Ed Carpenter. The Vision Racing driver is 19th. He's a couple of laps off the pace. It's lap 53 being completed now. 15.5 minutes left to go. It's going to be tight between being a lap race of 60 or a timed race of 1 hour 50, whichever comes first. Bruno Junqueira rejoins, and right in between first and second.
Lap traffic now becoming a pretty big issue on how this race is going to finish off.
And that lap alone, Dixon's got the margin down to 1.6 seconds. Here comes Briscoe. He clears Carpenter.
Dixon, he's cleared.
He's got through on Junqueira, and he'll get Carpenter down the back straight.
Here's Carpenter right here.
So he's not impeded. Now, he's tucked in behind. No doubt Vision have told the American what the state of play is here. He's not making it too easy just yet, but he gets on the brakes early, and Scott gets on through.
And you can see, closed up a bit more. Briscoe right up there in front of Dixon.
Clive Howell, Ryan Briscoe's race strategist, radioed to his driver, said they were asking race control for a blue flag on the 20 of Ed Carpenter for him to move over. But as soon as they had done that, they also sent a crew member down from the Penske camp over to Carpenter's pit, asked for simple driver team courtesy. And that's what happened. Ed moved over and let Ryan by.
Now we got another lap car.
It's lap 54. Ryan Briscoe is leading.
6 to go. 1.6 the difference between Dixon currently.
And the lap car in front of Ryan is Danica Patrick. She's 18th in the race.
Another 2/10. Dixon has caught up to Briscoe.
1.5 Dixon. 6 laps to go. 6 to go.
There you go. He's telling exactly where he's at.
He knows the score.
Now Ryan Briscoe struggled to get by Danica Patrick earlier in the race. In fact, that's why he made his first pit stop when he did. But you need to remember, there is no love lost between these two drivers. At this year's Indianapolis 500, Ryan Briscoe basically cut Danica off, or so she says, in pit lane, causing both of them to be eliminated from this year's Indianapolis 500. And Danica Patrick made headlines about how unhappy she was with Ryan Briscoe in May.
Well, Brienne, she did the right thing there. She got the heck out of the way and let these guys go on through, because they are going to bring the Nikon Indy 300 to an end in awesome style. It's a shootout for the victory. Briscoe and Dixon, no points on the line. It's all about the trophy.
And you can see Dixon slowly catching up. Right there, getting within striking distance. Briscoe a little sideways, coming off turn 8. Dixon slowly catching up right here. This is turning just a mega fight.
It's the chaser and the chased. The Aussie and the Kiwi. Turn 12. Trying to get the power down. 650 horsepower. And the warning's already going to AJ Foyt the fourth. He's the next lap car. Dixon's flying. The margin is 0.7 of a second. Can Briscoe hang on?
He picked up almost a second. Now Dixon might get there, but it's going to be tough for him to get by. It's going to be a fight to the finish.
And there's no points on the line. It doesn't matter. Every other year here, people have been concerned about their championship, about the points bundle that they'll take back with them on the plane to North America. Today, it doesn't matter. Could it be a bonsai move?
Here he is, taking a look. Lap traffic again, causing a bit of havoc.
Fight for
Briscoe.
Gets out of the way.
Good job there.
But Dixon is coming. It's lap 56. The clock's ticking. 11 minutes 20 to go. And the pressure is all on Ryan Briscoe.
He's got a clear bit of running room right now. Let's see if he can actually stretch back out. Tear off right there from Dixon. Up over the curbs. It's money time, baby. This is when these guys got to make it happen right now. Dixon. All over Briscoe.
This is enthralling. Backwards and forwards on the streets of Surfers Paradise.
Turn 12 onto the front straight. Second gear straight up through the gears.
The margin this time across the line, it was 7/10 of a second.
Nice job in traffic. 4 to go. 4 to go.
He's got a 10th on him. It's 8/10.
It's going to be close. 4 to go.
Briscoe on the second chicane. We're going to get the full distance in, 60 laps.
That's why these guys get paid the big bucks right here. Making it happen. It's all about the win.
Everything else is kind of irrelevant at the moment. Hunter Ray is comfortable in third for the podium. Tagliani and Serbia are in the top 5. Serbia is a second off Tagliani. But it's all about this fight. 1-2. Briscoe Dixon. Some lapped cars here. Foyt the fourth and Patrick. Then Hunter Ray. A couple more lapped cars. Carpenter and Junqueira. Here's Tagliani hanging on in fourth. It would be Conquest's best result of the IndyCar Series this year.
Serbia right behind him. But certainly, here's the race right here. The race for the win. Ganassi, Penske.
Wow, this is awesome. This is exactly how you would write the script. The two biggest teams, the two local affiliated drivers.
Is there a bit of rivalry between Australia and New Zealand?
You've picked this up quickly, Pruitt. There's something in that, I think. It's as tough as the Penske-Ganassi thing is. Another lap down, Briscoe. It's half a tenth that time to Dixon. They're going backwards and forwards with punches. But there's no leather being whacked in the face. It's just tenths and hundreds of seconds.
3 to go. It's a nail biter. Working their way down. Turn 3, hard on the brakes. Dixon doing everything he can to put the heat on Briscoe.
And they are flying. They're setting their fastest laps of the race. Briscoe 35.8, Dixon 35.7. They are blowing the rest of them away. Hunter Ray 37.2. He doesn't need to try. He's alone in third. But these boys are going for the win. Lap 58. Now, a report that the tyre bundle at turn 1 is out of the chicane, so someone's clipped that. There might be a chance for the officials to move it back in place before any cars go on through, but this is where it's at.
There it is.
Oh, that's right in the middle.
Got to be a bit careful of that, and if you get offline, you can see all those marbles there.
Ryan, take it.
There's his
Take
team.
care in turn 1. There's guys in the apex. Turn 1. Copy turn 1.
Dixon just
turn 1.
right there.
Down the apex of the turn. Turn 1. Take care. Turn 1.
So this is the first time that Briscoe and Dixon have gone to 1. It's lap 59, 2 to go. And there's an obstacle course here at the chicane.
They make their way around it. It's like Dixon took advantage. Briscoe being a little bit more cautious up in the lead. Dixon trying to make it happen.
But at the line, Briscoe had got another 1/10 of a second.
I think he gave all that up going around that tire bundle.
Here's the replay. Briscoe down the chicane. It's right where he wants to put the car. Now it's Dixon. This is the story of how it got there. It was Scott with the left rear last time around.
It's right there. Look at that. Ugh.
Boom. Boom. Carry on.
No drama. It's up and over.
Now, here is Briscoe. They're on the run towards turn 7. And next time by, it's 1 to go.
Pulls up on him a little bit here. You can see just a couple car lengths between those two cars.
It's maximum pressure. Briscoe, when he goes across the line, there are just 4.47 kilometres between he and a win on home soil.
12 on the front straight, car 6. Slot 1 if you want it. Slot 1. 1 left to go.
Telling him, full Rich. Give it all she's got.
1 lap between Ryan Briscoe.
There's the white flag flying.
And history. Dixon, the man who stands in his way, got 2/10 on Ryan that time around. But he needs more in this last lap, and he needs to get by.
They're giving it all they got right now.
What a race. Briscoe and Dixon have kicked clear. Ryan Hunter-Reay, the American, is 3rd. Turn 3, the run to the beach at turn 4.
Car. Dixon really trying to make something happen right now. Briscoe wanting to keep Dixon from making anything happen right now.
Turn 5, the chicane that claimed his countryman Will Power earlier in the day.
Comes out there clean. Looks like he actually stretched a little bit out on Scott.
There's a call of a local yellow at turn 3, but it doesn't matter to these two. That's why Ed Carpenter is in the wall, but it won't affect the fight for the lead and the fight for the win. Here's Briscoe.
Turn 8. He's through it. Dixon right on him. It's coming down, boys.
History's awaiting. Team Penske haven't won on the Gold Coast since 1992, and no Australian driver has won on home soil. But
here we go.
Ryan rules in 2008. Briscoe is going to get home in the Nikon Indy 300. The hometown hero has won. Ryan Briscoe takes the win for Penske.
I would say that would be a nice job, my friend. Good job, Ryan.
Great job. Ryan Briscoe by a half a second over Scott Dixon. Unbelievable race.
Fantastic. Briscoe home from Dixon, the margin. Half a second, and Ryan Hunter-Reay fills out the podium. But today, it's all about the Australians. Team Penske haven't been here for a long time. That's Matt Johnson there on the wall, the crew chief for Ryan Briscoe. What a race. That was awesome.
Briscoe, Dixon, Hunter-Reay, Tagliani, Oriol Servia, top 5. What a great ending.
Do you reckon the party will be good tonight?
It started. I'll guarantee it started. An Australian brings it home.
And this story is fantastic. From that massive crash with Chip Ganassi's team in 2005, he took rides in anything he could get in 2006. Roger Penske picked him up last year. This year, he gave him a chance in the INDYCAR Series. He finished 5th in the championship with 2 wins. This one doesn't count for points. It counts for so much more.
Counts for the victory. Unbelievable. To the streets, an Aussie and a Kiwi.
We've tried for so long to get a win in this race. Gary Brabham started us off in 1993. Jason Bright had a go. Will Power's been here for the last few years. And in his 2nd start on the streets of the Gold Coast, Ryan Briscoe gets the checkered flag. Great stuff, though. There's some other good stories here. As much as it's a wonderful story for Ryan, the other Ryan, Hunter-Reay in third, Tagliani fourth, a wonderful drive.
That is their best finish by far for the season. We talked about these guys wanting to carry a little momentum. Oil Serbia finished fifth.
You know what? It's donut time, baby. In the best traditions of Alex Zanardi, Ryan Briscoe is going to try his luck at the turn 7 chicane. And good luck if Firestone want these back.
Smoky burnout, baby.
He's been wanting to do that for so long. Briscoe wins the Nick on Indy 300 from Scott Dixon. Ryan Hunter-Reay will stand on the podium. Here's the results. Alex Tagliani in fourth. EJ Viso was sixth. Castro Neves recovered for seventh. Dan Weldon snuck his way into the top 10.
Great finish there for Dan Weldon. Justin Wilson, Buddy Rice, Marco Andretti, they've been struggling all weekend. Victor Mera, Bruno Junqueira, Dario Franchitti, unfortunately had that spin early on. AJ Foyt, Danica Patrick, Jamie Camara, Ed Carpenter.
And right back through the sad story of Will Power. A wonderful weekend up until now for Team Australia. They started for pole, but it's still Australia Day. And Briscoe can't help himself. He's going to do donuts at every single corner, and the fans love it. The green and gold flies. Ryan rules today.
And what a nail biter, right to the checkered flag.
And just wait for Ryan to get out of this car. This is going to be good.
Ryan, don't leave your helmet off. Full time is short.
What a day. All this Penske crew right there with them. What a team effort today. Ultimately, Ryan brought that sucker right to the podium, victory lane.
The helmet off, the hands device as well, the insert for the cockpit, some added driver protection. It's been a tough day.
Firestone hat goes on.
That is sensational. And now, when you're in victory lane here, the throng, it just comes right in around the car, and everyone wants to know you on this day.
It is so terrific being there before. It is such a sweet victory.
Scott Dixon second.
Your champion, Indy 500 winner. Second place today. There with his wife. Didn't look like he's particularly happy with the second place finish.
Brett Murray in there as well. But it's Ryan's day. Briscoe and Penske.
So how long is that party going to last here?
I think you're booking your flight for Thursday, aren't you? It could go for a while. And it's a long off season now before round 1 next year.
Ryan, the first, congratulations, you are the first Australian, as he gets a kiss from his girlfriend Nicole, congratulating him on his win. Ryan, the first Australian, turn this way, to ever win here at your home track. Congratulations. Can you describe the pride that you have right now?
It's pretty cool. It's just such a tough track, and I mean, the event was just spectacular this weekend. So many fans out here, the weather's perfect, and it just means so much to win here in Surfers Paradise. I really hope we can come back next year.
Now, there were no points up for grabs. The season championship was finished before we arrived here in Australia. But what does this win do to springboard you into the 09 season?
Oh, it's worth triple points to me, I tell you. But for sure, it's a great springboard into 2009. You know, a win's a win. We'll take it.
Congratulations, Ryan, on making history. It was certainly fun to watch from Surfers Paradise.
Everyone wants to talk to Ryan Briscoe. He came and played with the V8 Supercars with us a couple of years ago with the Holden Racing team. So well measured, so fast. and he has really put himself now in the box set. He's had a year of learning in IndyCar. 2009 championship challenger,
and done just a terrific job. That's his 3rd win for the season, but certainly, as he said, this is triple points for him. Nothing sweeter than a victory in his home country here in Australia. You can see everybody just gathered. Oh, looks like the party started there. Would that be
I think
little
the party
beer
started on Wednesday, actually. Plenty of fans around. Ryan Hunter-Reay, great job. The winner in 2003, he gets 3rd.
Scott Dixon, the Kiwi, came in 2nd, making it a 1-2 finish from down under. Scott, what a race. That certainly was exciting to watch. What was it like out there for you?
Yeah, it definitely was. You know, we had a bit of a bad start, lost a place there. We had to back up and give it back to Briscoe, which was unfortunate because it was so tough to pass on track. And just as you got closer, the traffic at the end made it quite exciting. But we got a bad call from race control when they pulled the pace car out in front of us when we were in the pits, and that's how we lost that 1st position. So that's frustrating on that part, but definitely credits to Penske and Ryan. They drove a fantastic race, and it's good to see an Aussie, I guess, win the race down here.
If there were 61 laps, do you think you could have caught him?
You know, we were definitely quicker in different spots. He was quicker than me. We were quite quick through the back section, and you know, I think 9 through 12, but he was definitely quick through 1, 2 here and 3. So I don't know. You know, maybe if he made a little bit of a mistake, we could have made it exciting at the end. But if he kept it clean, it would have been tough.
Mike Hull told me that part of this goal, part of the trip here would be about learning how to work together with your new teammate, Dario Franchitti. From your assessment, how did that go?
Yeah, definitely as the weekend went on, I think practices and qualifying, you know, he's a very technical guy. He thinks a little different to other, you know, teammates I've had before, so it makes it always, you know, fresh blood's good blood in our team. And, you know, it's been a pleasure to work with him so far. I don't know how his race went. I saw he got a bit of trouble out there, but he's good teammate.
Congrats, Scott.
Thanks, cheers.
Dixon 2nd, but today it's Ryan's day. That was just, you couldn't have scripted it any better. But we talked yesterday, Scott, that the Indy 500, it's the biggest race in IndyCar racing, but for a lot of these other drivers and teams, winning one on the Gold Coast is a pretty close second.
You know, it's so big. We talked about that earlier on in the show. It's so much momentum. So for Ryan Hunter-Reay, Alex Tagliani, Oriol Servia, they had such a terrific race today, and they'll carry that momentum now through the winter.
Ryan Hunter-Reay with a 3rd place finish here at Surfers Paradise. Ryan, what was your race like today? Are you happy with 3rd place?
I am. I mean, we started out the weekend P14 in practice, moved our way up every session. I just love this racetrack. Every time I've been here, I haven't been out of the top 5 in the races. It's just such a challenging track. Not sure if there was that much passing, but I'm sure the start was fun. I got by Dario there, and I'm hoping that was fun for the fans, but God, it was tough for the drivers out there. But this track beats you up, and it eats equipment, so luckily we rolled the car in one piece.
You have not yet signed a contract for next year. Do you think this race has done anything to move it in that direction?
That's all you can do. That's all I can do. Everything's up in the air, just uncertainty once again going into the off season. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I'm hoping I did the job this year to show that I should be back. And hey, that's all we can do. And then we got the ethanol car back up on the podium again. Too bad this wasn't a points race. That's it.
Congrats, Ryan.
It only just sunk in and kicked in there at the end. Oh, the points as well, but a podium's fantastic. After the break, we go to the podium. Ryan Briscoe will stand atop for the Nikon Indy 300.